So I'm from the posh half of the Mersey over the other side, so no, it used to be a day out coming over here, so I remember going on the beach. I'm born and bred in Liverpool, brought up in Bootle, now live in Seaforth, so just by the docks over there. I was dark red right the way through, from when I first talk, it was Liverpool this, Liverpool that. I think my earliest memory was when I was about 3 or 4. My dad took me to like a local team. I don't know who they were. And apparently I started shouting, "Come on, Liverpool!" And they weren't even playing. It was some other team. So right from the start, it's been Liverpool. As I got older, going to match, then started going to match. And I grew up when they played football. You know, not like today, but you can't defend the corner. And you knew they were going to win. You just wondered how are they going to win, or how many are they going to win by you. And then we had the likes of Dalglish and Rush, right through the 80s, and you know, it was just everywhere we went with them. And that was my God, Liverpool Football Club. You know, it's I've heard some people, it's quite corny, but my church was Anfield. You know, there was the same ritual every week. You know, you'd meet in a cafe in Bootle, then we go to pubs on our way off, get to the match, and then depending whether you won or lost, depended how fast you got drunk when you got out the match. So, but we won most of the time back then anyway, so it was always a good time back in the 80s. And that was it. That was my life. It was going to the match all the time. All my mates together, we were all Liverpool supporters, so we went everywhere with the team, and it was going to the pub. And that was this little life that I was into. I was never into church, anything like that. I thought Christians were the biggest weirdos in the world. You know, my mum and dad had started going to church then, and I used to hate it when the Christians would come round and they had the guitars out and here we go again, they'll be sitting around singing "Come By Yard" or something. And that was it. I was out the door straight away, down the pub. Because I didn't believe in anything. I wasn't brought up like that. And it was just me. It was just for me. So went through the seasons. Just this routine, going to the pub, going to match, going to the pub, going to match. And then, as I say, got to 1989, we got to semis in Hillsborough. And it was my sister's 18th birthday the day before. So we'd hired one of the clubs out in Bootle, and we were having a big party for her, but it was on the actual Saturday of the match. So my dad had asked me that morning, "Don't go, help us with the party." So I just said, no chance, I've got semi-final tickets, I'm going, so I'll see you later, because obviously you go on a match, you don't think it's going to be the last thing you're ever going to do. So we went down, usual banter on the motorway, you know, Everton were going down to Villa Park, so we would very politely say to them as we were driving. We missed the turn-off for some strange reason. And ended up having to come back on ourselves into Sheffield. So when we got in there, all I remember was we just parked up a hill, because I didn't know until then it was like 7 hills in Sheffield, and we just parked on this estate up the top of a hill, and walked back to the ground. So I was didn't think anything was the matter. We got to the grounds, it must have been about probably 2:30, 25 to 3, something like that. And when you got to the actual Leppens Lane end, it was like a big courtyard with the gates on I think they were on a bit of an angle, but it was just absolute chock-a-block. There was no organisation at all. There was, when you go to Anfield, you're always in a queue. You know, if you got off the queue, you had to go to the back of the queue. But here, it was just a big bottleneck. I ended up, there was 3 of us that went. And where we ended up in the courtyard, I was right by a police horse at the back, right at the back of this police horse, and all I'm thinking is, this is going to kick me, and the horse is going to stamp on me, and I'm going to miss the match. But you couldn't move as easy as you wanted, I say, because it was quite packed there. And then all of a sudden, the only way I can describe it is it was like someone taking the plug out of a sink, and the crowd just went forward. You know, they'd open, no one back, they'd open the side gates, and I just got carried with this crowd. I didn't know where my mates went, so I didn't meet them till probably 3 or 4 hours later. And I just went with this crowd, and it must have took me from being outside the ground to where I finished up, I think 60 seconds at the most. You just got carried along with this crowd, and you went through the gates, and there was an archway in the middle, a tunnel in the middle, and there was no stewards there, so I didn't know there was 2 other sides to that ground. We went through the middle tunnel, and as we went into the ground, it was quite packed at the back, and I went past 2 of my friends who were already there, and my cousins, but the channel I was in just seemed to be going down, and I just went right past them, shouted at them, but they couldn't hear me, and ended up, must be about 12, 13 foot away from the fence, just on the right hand side of the goal. And when I look back, I believe it's where your arms were that either saved you or it didn't. As I say, 'cause I lost 2 friends there. One lad he was probably wider than that cupboard at the back. He was a massive, great big lad, big bricky, and he didn't come back. You know, I think his arms must have been down or up, and it's just been the crush on his chest. Because he was behind me. I went past him, he was behind me. So it's that was my thoughts anyway. And as I got to where I finished off in the crowd, I had my left arm was across my chest that way, and my other arm was up in the air. So my elbow was in the back of some fella's head, and my hand was on some other fellas in front of me, and I was just jammed in that position. So I didn't have the initial crushing right on my chest. I had this just a tiny bit of a barrier. And as we were there, you still didn't realise how bad it was. You did think, well, it's only a semi-final, it's a bit tight, we'll spread out in a minute. It's just because, as I say, it was getting closer and closer to the start. But it was only later on, a few months later, when I actually seen one of the photographs of the Leopard's Iron End. There was barriers down the sides, so we couldn't spread out, and that's what kept us hemmed in. You know, usually when you're in a cop, it was just one big space, so you went in and you spread out. But it was like we were just penned in, and more people were coming in, and you're just getting tighter and tighter and tighter. And as I say, I'm in this position, still not thinking I'm going to die. Just thinking, well, it's got to ease up soon. You know, it's a footy match. This is it doesn't usually happen like this. You know, we've been to some grounds where it was tight, but you'd always seem to ease off. But this didn't. It kept getting tighter and tighter. And then I was, as I say, just totally in this position for the whole time I was there. And then every time I breathed in, it was like a vice slowly just closed on my chest. I couldn't breathe out, or literally. And it was getting tighter and tighter. And it got to the point when I realised I'm not getting out of this. There was a fella in between me and the fence, and he was facing back, so I could see his face. He had his back towards the pitch. And we're looking at each other, and I just watched him die in front of me. I watched his face change colours, and then I seen his pupils just pop. And I thought, wow, this he's just died in front of me. And I thought, wow, this is serious, this now. And you're trying to get out, and everyone's screaming, everyone's trying to shout. You couldn't move, you were just that jam-packed, you couldn't move. And as I say, even if someone would have tried to grab my hand, I was that tight and packed in, I wouldn't have been able to get pulled out. So I was there. I say time just seemed to stop. It didn't seem to matter, because I didn't know how long I'd been there for. I just started feeling I'm going. I got this sensation I was getting pulled down, although I was jammed in this position. But it was like as if my soul was getting pulled out of me. I was going down, I was going lower and lower. And the lower I was going, the hotter it was getting. the screams changed then from the ground to these quite, I could only say they're like tortured screams, and I'm going, wow, what's going on here? Like I say, I've never been into church, I've never been into God, and like that. And I'd come to the point where I was ready to black out. It must have been about 30 seconds from blacking out. I've got no feeling in my body at all. Couldn't hardly breathe. I thought it took my last breath. And I was just waiting to pass out. Even then I thought, if I pass out, I'll get out and get on the pitch. You know, thinking someone's going to get me out. I wasn't expecting to die. Nothing was happening. The gate wasn't opening. The police weren't pulling people out. And what, you know, people are, why isn't people coming in to help us? And I knew that's it. I'm going to pass out. As I say, I didn't think I was going to die. I'm just going to pass out. And as I'm going, this voice, as clear as I'm talking to you today, a voice just went call out to me. Wow, I knew what was going on, I didn't know. Is this what happens when you die and you start hearing voices, you know, things like that? I didn't know what was going on. I thought it was someone in the crowd. So it seemed to snap me back into reality a little bit. And got me bearings back a little bit, and I was still in this position, you know, this poor fella's face was all over my elbow by now. He's screaming, I'm screaming, I can't move. He couldn't hardly move, well, he couldn't move his face. The crowd were just swaying, or just, when he did move, there's nowhere you could go, you were just going where it went. And the next time I started feeling getting pulled down again, but this time it was a lot faster. I knew I was dying. That was when it hit me. I'm not going to get out of this. And the only thing I could think of was, I've ruined my sister's party. She's 18, and I'm not coming home. You know, I was only going to a footy match. And apparently, like, it was only when we got back home, everyone was watching it because it was on the television. And I knew I was going, and I knew I was dying. I wasn't going to get out of this one. And I just give in. I'd give up. I was 21. I'd just give up. I couldn't fight it anymore. I had no more strength. And I had no feeling whatsoever. And I say, I took this last breath, and it went tighter and tighter, but I couldn't breathe out then. And as I'm going, again, this voice just said, call out to me. But this time, there was no begging me. It wasn't, you know, please call out or shout at me. It was just call out to me like that. But there was so much authority in the voice. And it's only since I've become a Christian that I realised it was Jesus saying that. And when you read the Bible, you see where people have said when they listen to him talk, and there was never anyone with so much authority in his voice. And it was just saying to me, well, if you don't call out now, you've gone. You know, and I know where I was going. I was getting dragged into hell, and I was going to have an eternity without the Lord. And for some reason, as I say, I wasn't a Christian then at the time, and I looked up into the sky. I was in that position, and it was like as if it was my last breath. I just went, if you're there, if you're real, get me out. And the second I said it, the crowd moved back. It was only about 12 inches, only about that, but it was enough for my arms to drop down, and I was able to breathe. And why it happened, there was no reason. There's no physical reason why that should have happened. As I say, because my mate died and he was behind me. The other mate died and he was at the side. You know, I was near the front. There was no reason for that crowd to move back, or should have moved back, but it did. And as I say, I got down, got some air back in my lungs. And then I was able to turn around, pull this fellow with me, and then it was just a case of fight for survival then. You just had to get out. It took probably another 20-30 minutes just to actually get back up the crowd, back through the tunnel, because there was no way of getting out through the front. Got outside into the courtyard, and the scene was horrendous. There was people on the floor, there's people in the tunnel and the dead. You know, it was. You think this is a footy match, and it's something like a horror film that you look at. You see this in the movies, and there's people giving CPR, there's people crying, there's people walking around. I was just in a daze, and then once I got into the courtyard, I'm thinking, where's my mates? There was 3 of us that went down there. Couldn't find them, so I'm looking around for 20 minutes looking for them, screaming their names, couldn't see them. So we always used to say, if you ever get lost when you go away, go back to the meet at the car. So I ended up trying to get back to that, and got clear I got back, as I say, because I didn't realise there was 7 hills in Sheffield. But I eventually made it back. Massive estate it was on this hill. And I sat down on the pavement by the car and just started crying. It was the first time I cried in my life. Because to me, if you cried, it was a sign of weakness, you know, especially being a Scouser, you don't show any fear whatsoever, you know. And I just started crying and crying. I couldn't stop crying. And then this fella tapped me on the shoulder and he said, yeah, I'll get inside and ring your mum. Because as I was saying, when I went in the house, it was on the telly, you know, they'd all been watching it. And he had a house full of Scousers, all over a cup of tea. And they'd all been able to use the phone and all that. So I rang my ma, and I just, when she answered it, she went, I'm alright, and put the phone down. I couldn't speak, I was there, my dad in the background, and I just put the phone down. And then, as I say, praise the Lord, you know, my 2 mates came back about an hour later, and we just drove back to Liverpool. Wasn't a sound in the car. And then, when I got back to Liverpool, I couldn't handle what had happened. All these nightmares were coming in. Every time I went to sleep, bang, I was straight back into the crowd. I was straight back into this breathlessness. I could hear the screams, the heat, everything. And then the guilt comes in then, you know, why did I get out? You know, I was there, and then you find out your mate didn't come back, and the other mate didn't come back. And I'm thinking, wow, you know, all this, then the news was going on, saying, you know, there's 20 dead now, or there's 30 dead, you know, it was going up and up and up. And I'm thinking, wow, you know, why am I alive? Why am I out? And this horrible guilt was kicking in. And I found very quickly that the quicker I got drunk, the quicker I would pass out. And then if I passed out, I didn't have any nightmares. So that was my release then. I used to drink quite a bit then anyway, but it went to every single night where we were going out. Even if we didn't go out, we'd have a big bottle in the house, because I knew I had to get drunk, I had to pass out, because I couldn't take those nightmares. And I'd be waking up in the garden, I'd be waking up on a car. I woke up, must be about 5 miles from where I live. And where I'd been out, I hadn't got a clue how I got there. I just woke up in a bus stop. So that went on for the next few months. And what was happening then was this attack of my mind was going on, and the alcohol was getting stuck in, and I was killing myself that way, and I was killing my own self then with it, because you know the times I've woke up somewhere and I haven't got a clue where I am. You know, I could have walked into the street, anything could have happened. So I got to September, and my mate was getting married. That was one thing that we said we'd never do, was get married, because it wasn't for us. You know, it's just no chance of that. You know, play football, play for Liverpool, and go to the pub. That was it, nothing else. And he said he was getting married, so it really affected me. So, you know, what are you getting married for? That's your life totally gone now. You know, you can't have any fun anymore. And it was my friend as well who he was marrying, so it was I introduced him, so it was my fault he was getting married. So I wasn't going to go out that night, because he got married on the Saturday, and I didn't want to go, so I was going to stay in. But then my mate rang up and said, you come out for a pint and we'll go down and see Gina, and then we'll go back out. He said, we'll only stay for a pint. And I didn't need any encouragement to go for a pint, so I said, yeah, alright. So we went down, seen him, had a pint with him, and then got off. And it was funny the way I say, I still hadn't become Christian, and I was in this cycle of going out and getting drunk and waking up somewhere. But the Lord had his hand on me right the way through this walk. I went out when we seen me mate getting married, and I went to the pub, the usual pub in Bootle. And it was like one of those corny scenes where the 2 people meet and their eyes look over the crowd, and it was back when you could smoke in the pub then, you know, the smoke was there, and I'm on one end of the pub, and I seen this girl over the other side of the pub, and all I can remember is she had this amazing, her hair was pulled tight, really tight back, and she had these amazing red lips, and it was as if I just like hovered across the pub to see her, start talking to her, and it was my grandma used to say, you know when you meet the right person, that's because you learn music and all, and the heart will be going and that. And as I'm talking to her in this pub in Liverpool, I can hear bells ringing. And I'm standing there, about pointing at her, about shouting at her, and I'm going, oh, I'm going to get married. That's what I was thinking about. This, my head was going different ways. And I could, every time I was talking to her, these bells were ringing. And I'm going, wow. So I didn't realise my hand was telling the truth there. And it was only about 3 or 4 months later, she told me that she had bells on the bottom of her checks. And the Lord's got this amazing sense of humour. I met her in the September. We were engaged in December and married in April. So within 6 months, the Lord had taken me out of that lifestyle because I couldn't go out all the time then because we had our flat and you've got to give all your money to your wife and you get married. And if you get pocket money then it has to go on something nice for there. So it was like he just pulled me out of this lifestyle I was in, because it was just a total self-destruct mode I was in. And then, as I say, 6 months we got married, and it was the week before the first anniversary of Hillsborough. We got married on her 21st birthday, and that was 27 years ago. We're still married now, which my mates thought it wouldn't last 6 months. I didn't think it'd last 6 months, because that was the last thing I ever wanted to do was get married. But he's brought this woman into my life who's just amazing. She is just like an angel. Although she's not born again, the Lord has used her so many times. It's unbelievable. And as we went through my walk, I went to, I was a decorator at the time, so it was probably the Christmas after we got married. I was working in one of my dad's friends' houses, where I knew he was a Christian. And I used to hate going there, because he's going to have the Bible. He'd have the cup of tea on the table and biscuits, but he'd always have his Bible with him when he'd walk out. And I couldn't get out of it because we're getting towards Christmas, and I needed the money, so I had to go and tell him. And he goes, yeah, it's a cup of tea, lad. I said, I'm alright, I'll just get. He said, no, I'm going to have a cup of tea. So he's got the Bible, so I'm drinking the tea as fast as I can. And he said, I'm talking on the Friday night in a church not far from where we are now, from our house. He said, do you want to come down? And for some reason I said, yeah. I said, yeah, alright. And I got home, said to Joe, I said, I've just said I'll go to church on the Friday. And that was it, she just ripped me to pieces then. She was winding me up through the week saying, oh, you've got to go to church, you've got to be a nice little churchy person now, aren't you? And I just thought, no, I can't do this. So I went out the pub before I said, I can't go to church sober. I'm going to go get all this Dutch spirit or Dutch courage. So I said, I'll sit at the back and I'll just wave to him. And he said, you can't say I haven't been. And then I'll get off and that'll be it. Not knowing that the Lord had other ideas, And as I'm sitting there, he starts talking about the Christmas story. And I'm thinking, oh yeah, there we go. The donkey out in a minute will come past and get a little manger out over there. And I said, oh, I've heard this hundreds of times in school. But he starts talking about Jesus, the man, and the blood, and the cross, and washing your sins away, and that we're all sinners. And I'm going, yeah, but I feel like this is usually 3 months' time, isn't it, in Easter and something like that. And he kept saying this, and every time he said Jesus, it was like your heart was just going to burst. It was like going to pop up your chest. And he was talking about the blood. He said, we're all sinners. None of us are perfect. We've all fallen short of the mark. And it's got to be that choice. You've got to make that choice. You've got to accept Jesus as your Lord and Saviour. You've got to get yourself washed in the blood, wash your sins away, accept Him. And He'll accept you. And I'm thinking, wow. I've got out to once the universal out of the theatre when he finished, but I couldn't stop thinking about what was going on. And the more I was sitting there, the more it was just going over and over and over. And every time I listened, I was recapping it. It was like my heart was just pounding all the time. And then as my mum turned up, I think she'd been waiting for years because she had a Bible already for me, so she gave me this Bible. I didn't know do you read it as a book, do you start in the middle, what do you do? So I always remember when I was in his house sometimes he'd say, look, if you get a Bible, just read John, Gospel of John. So I was flicking through where's John, so I thought it was in alphabetical order, and I'm trying to find John, gets to John, reading it, and then I read it again and again, and then it was like everything just slotted into place. It was like everything that I'd been hearing, all these things that were going on in my head just went like a bang, it just went together. And then when I read it, I realised that it was who spoke to me in the crowd. I knew it was Jesus. You know, I never thought I'd say that in my life. Never thought I'd be sitting talking, because I never used to talk to anyone. I used to do my job and go home. And as I say, the last thing I wanted to do was become a Christian, because I'd seen them from the people who were in my mum's church, you know, and it was like the ideal Christian, you know, the cardigans on and the guitars, and I hated it. And then all of a sudden, after I'm reading, I just went into my bedroom and I just went, I know who you are now. I said, I know who you are, and I know what you've done for me. And I got on my knees and I just went, Lord, I accept you as I am. I said, I'm a sinner. I said, I just want you to come into my life. I said, I haven't got a clue what to do. I don't know where I'm going to go. I don't know what you do. I've got no way to the Christians. I didn't know anyone at our church. And there was no angels, you know, no symbols going or anything like that. But I know there was in heaven. I know there was a massive party, and I just said, right, I'm yours. Use me. I said, I don't know where we're going to go. I said, but just take me where you want me to go. And I gave my life to the Lord that night. And this amazing walk started then. I got baptised in 1991, 5th of February. So that's when I say I was truly born. You know, I was born again then, so I'd made that choice. And the Lord had just opened these doors, you know, to go talking. I thought I'd never ever talk in public anyway, because it was just about, you talk to your mates in the pub and that was about it. And then he's opened all these doors. I've been all over Ireland, all over the country. The CD that I usually bring, it's gone all over, it goes all over the world on the internet. You know, I don't know anyone here tonight. You know, I don't know if you're saved or you're not saved. But it's a free gift, you know, for everybody. He doesn't want anyone not to have it. You know, there's only one thing in life that we know that we're all going to touch is death. It's going to hit every one of us at some point. The only thing is we don't know when it's going to happen. You know, I was 21. I was going to semi-finals. I wasn't expecting to be seconds from dying. You know, right through my life, I've lost friends, I've lost mates. Right through, you know, it's not, you know, we think we've got this God-given right to live till we're 80 or something, and then we'll fall asleep and that'll be it. You know, but it doesn't work like that, life. You know, I've lost babies have died in our house, in our family. You know, my friends have died when they're 15, 16. We just know that it's going to happen at some point. And it's when you accept the Lord Jesus Christ as your Lord and Saviour, you've got that assurance then. That, you know, if we do go tonight on the way home, we know where we're going. I know where I'm going. I know where my mate is now. You know, he's perfect now with the Lord. And that's the thing, we don't know when it's going to happen. So it's getting that chance. You know, today's the day of salvation, it says in the scriptures. You know, choose today who you're going to serve. And again, it's a free gift. You don't have to do anything. You don't have to pay anyone to do anything. It's a free gift. He loves you that much that he came down from heaven to die. You know, and he could have stopped at any point of that walk, but he didn't. You know, he went all the way, because even if you were the only one left, he'd have still died for you. And that's once I understood that, it was like everything bang, it just came together, and that's what gives me the strength to keep going. Yeah, you do get knocked. I've had some serious kicks in the stomach, you know, where you're on your floor, you're never going to get up. I'm still in this dark valley at the moment, but I know he's with me. I know he's the one guiding me and carrying me. So I just give it to him. I thank him every day when I wake up. You know, that I'm still here. You know, I'm just a scalp from over the water. But he's opening these doors, you know, for me to come and talk to people. I'm going, wow, it's just amazing. And then people are getting saved. I'm going, that shouldn't be right. I'm just Billy, like, you know, I'm just from Bootle. But, you know, people are getting saved and giving their lives to the Lord. And I think, wow, that's the greatest thing you can see, you know, when someone accepts the Lord Jesus. When you've had a little part to play in it, you know, it's not just me getting up talking, it's the people who've been praying for you for years. You know, I'm praying for my wife. I've been praying for 26 years for my wife. And I know it'll happen sometime, you know. And when it does, you'll see me do handsprings across the beach and Seaford. So as I say, if you don't know the Lord tonight, please don't go down doors until you spoke to someone. Because you just don't know when our time's up. You know, it might be tonight, it might be next year, it might be 10 years, but it's having that assurance that when you do go, you know you're going to be with him in glory. Yeah.